Welcome to Beyond the Backlog, where we look at thrilling tales of gaming triumphs, both past and present, exploring the strategies, challenges, and unforgettable moments that shape the ever-evolving landscapes of our digital adventures. I'm Nick.
And I'm Zach.
And today we've got a list for you, a top 10 list, top 9, really, technically. We're ranking the Pokemon gens.
Oh boy, are we just going to jump right in here?
We'll jump right in. Stipulations, I kind of sorted based off of mainline Pokemon games and then like remakes / Arceus.
Yeah, like we nothing to do with any of the side games, spin-offs.
Yeah, except for Arceus, because apparently I just decided to put that in there.
I mean, there's another Arceus game or another Legends game coming, so
exactly.
maybe it'll start being a new mainline thing. But anyway,
yeah.
Number 9.
So number 9, we have Gen 1 itself, the OG red, blue, and yellow. So that has, like Pokemon as a whole. They came out with version exclusives, Pokemon trading, all that kind of thing. And I don't know about you. I just thought, I'm never going back to those games. There's better versions of those games.
Oh, I have fantastic memories of those games.
Yep.
I love those games. And that's the thing is we're starting at the bottom here. And I'm pretty sure both of us can agree that we have passion for each of these. And that's why it kind of made sense for us to do a list like this.
Yeah.
But yeah, I am never going back to them. The last time I did, I gave up on yellow because I just could not make it through some of that gimmicky, glitchy goop that you got to get through.
Yeah. I would rather play any of the multitude of remakes of them because they're just a little bit more put together, a little bit less issues, and just a little bit more streamlined.
Yeah, that's where I think the reason it just kind of defaults to the bottom is every single Pokemon in this gen is fantastic, but and like the region itself is fantastic, but it's been done better.
Yeah. Still comes in, Pokemon Yellow is one of my favorite games. But
yeah, exactly. I just can't sit down and do it.
Yeah.
But I think the only other gen that I don't think I would revisit is Gen 8.
Yeah, Gen 8, you've got Sword and Shield, you've got Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, and then this is technically where Legends Arceus comes in. I think of the bunch, Legends Arceus is the best.
Like that's the one that stands out as the most fully featured, like new idea.
Yeah.
And the reason we're ranking Gen 8 as like rank 8, I think is because again, like Gen 1, like we have this new idea of like this whole big open wild area, but it was done a lot better in the next generation.
Yeah.
So I don't think there's any reason to exclusively go back to Gen 8. Like it brought a bunch of cool things, but was improved upon.
Yeah, Dynamax is kind of cool. Camping came out. I didn't care about the camping.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
Nope. But the wild area was really neat. I like the idea of, and this is why I really liked Arceus, of just kind of wandering around and like, oh shoot, I found super cool, powerful Pokemon. Because it always kind of was weird to me that like, man, good thing I grew up in Pallet Town because all the Pokemon around me kind of suck. Right? Like it's just that suspension of disbelief wasn't quite there.
And I genuinely feel like it is the game that I played through and remember the least about.
I couldn't tell you anything.
Like I remember there being the central like school that you kind of come back to, but overall your journey just kind of takes you on a loop on one side and then a loop on the other side. And then I remember the final trainer was a dragon type.
That's more than me. I don't remember that.
Yeah, that's about all I remember.
Yeah. Next up, we've got Gen 7 coming in at number 7. That's Sun and Moon. That's the Let's Go Pikachu and Eevees. You've got your Z moves. You've got regional variants. Didn't quite come out here. I think X and Y might have had 1 or 2.
But it was a huge selling point of the Alola region was we have not even Pokemon just look a little different, but are completely different types.
Yeah, you had rideable Pokemon, which was kind of cool. It started the end of HMs. You started to have like Pokemon that just did things for you, which was really nice.
Yeah, I was going to say that is probably my favorite takeaway from this was the fact that you always have XP share on and the fact there's no HM moves. Like maybe when I was a kid, I would have been like, oh, they've made it so easy and simple. As an adult, I'm like, I appreciate that they respect my time a little more.
I wish that it was toggleable, like the XP share. I wish you could turn it off a little bit. Just because if you want to do like a challenge run, it doesn't really give you the option to do it.
Fair, but that's not usually why I play Pokemon.
No.
And I like that it does weight the experience based on the level too. So it's not like the Pokemon that is the highest is just going to stay 5 levels ahead because you're going to keep using him. It's like...
Exactly. Yeah, it keeps things a little bit more even. I just ultimately thought these games were easy.
I think Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon kind of killed my momentum with Pokemon because not gonna lie, like I loved like gens 2 through 4 especially. I kind of fell out with 5 and 6 for a bit. Like I wasn't excited to play them. And 7, I was like, all right, let's do this. But yeah, that's where I was like, okay, I see why a lot of people are kind of falling off with Pokemon right now. Like they did get a little tedious, a little been there, done that, even if it was like a cool new region.
But I think ultimately too, you had all the people by this point. Sun and Moon would have been 2015 thereabouts.
Yeah,
somewhere around there. But we're talking almost 20 years after Gen 1. So all the people that were kids growing up with them are now older, right? In your 20s. You don't want to play a game that just got the easiest that has ever been.
Yeah, and I think Sun and Moon kind of hit that low of this feels like it is a kid's game.
Yes.
Before, I mean, like obviously the ones since also feel like kids games, but between Sun and Moon and especially Let's Go, like it felt like this was for the public general audience, and I'm sure there is a competitive meta to them that I missed out on, but I did not care about making a strong team. No. I just wanted to finish the game.
Exactly. And then we're moving on. Number 6 here. We've got Gen 9. So just came out once, Scarlet and Violet. Just came out being a relative term. I didn't really have a lot of big things that I added on. Big one was like terrestrialization, taking your Z moves or like your other region exclusive Dynamaxing. But I thought this was just a better improvement on Gen 8.
So I actually really like Gen 9. I put it quite high up on my list. And the reason I like Gen 9 is because I feel like it took everything from like Gens 6, 7, 8 that had kind of improved on the idea of Pokemon, like adding in like the fairy type, doing these cool like once per battle special moves, having this big open area, having like these raid battles, a lot of things from Pokemon Go even, and kind of mixing it together, and it made a really good final product. And I really enjoy just the variety of like ways you can go about completing it, and that's something that is really missing from like Gen 6, 7, 8 especially, is you're kind of locked in. It's very linear.
Your one stipulation is maybe Arceus, but that's a different style of game. And I think Gen 9 took a lot from that.
Which is why I'm like, I feel like the reason I ranked it really high is because it essentially made those other generations to me just it left them in the water as completely dead. Like there's no reason for me to go back to those ones anymore.
I could see 6. I rated 6 higher, but Gen 7, Gen 8, definitely. I have no reason to, when like Scarlet and Violet just did a better job.
Well, again, don't get me wrong. Like, as I said, I've enjoyed every single generation.
Yeah.
It's just 9 was pretty high up there for me.
Yeah, 9 was great. I don't know if I'd say return to form, but like, we'll take it.
But I think if they could have just smoothed out some of those technical issues, it would have easily gone down as one of the best and probably one of the best selling ones. Yeah. Like that thing is still selling like hotcakes.
Oh yeah.
And I think it deserves it because despite the fact that there was a lot of discourse about just the quality of like the graphics and like frame rates, it is such a cool idea for like the new direction of Pokemon. I think it needs to be experienced and explored further.
Yeah. It took a little bit of kind of what people were kind of clamoring for, a little bit more open world, just kind of, you smooth it out a bit more, maybe add just a little bit more difficulty, because some of these fights were quite hard.
And you can like choose to pursue a harder fight if you wish. Now that really stuck out to me.
Yeah. We're getting in top 5 here.
Number 5.
We've got Gen 6, so that's going to be your X and Y, as well as your Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire. They're big things. You're hitting on the Mega Evolutions. You're getting that little bit of extra in-depthness for Pokemon affection and caring for them.
And I think it's almost exclusively because of touchscreen features.
Yeah. You've got one of my favorite things that they added into the Pokemon games, the Wonder Trade. I used to just sit there, just randomly picking Pokemon, just see what you get.
Mm-hmm.
You came out with Fairy type, which was nice. Horde battles, so you had like swarms of Pokemon.
Yeah, like 5 at a time.
Yeah, and then trainer customization, you actually got to go around and change all of these.
Mm-hmm.
This is the one that got me back into Pokemon.
I would agree. Like I really liked X as the one I played, and then actually, I think I own Y, and I never actually played it because I felt like 1 was enough. But bringing those new features into Ruby and Sapphire was like my return to Pokemon. As I said, like Sun and Moon were the ones I was excited for because Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire just blew me out of the water. I was like, take probably arguably one of my favorite generations and have it brand new to me, like having Mega Evolutions in like gym battles and whatnot. Just the fact that I already knew what every trainer was going to be along the way did kind of take away some of that excitement.
Yeah.
But I really love the changes they made to Gen 3 to make it into like a 3DS game.
Yeah. And that's when they did, I believe, they did all the art again, just kind of updated the modeling.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a big, like, beginning of a new era a lot of times for it.
I was going to say they're probably still using the same models in Gen 9.
They are, which some people are not as happy with. Going into number 4. Number 4 is one that a lot of people consider as like the second act of Pokemon. That's Gen 5. A lot of people like younger than us, like the kind of the second tier of Pokemon lovers.
Mm-hmm.
This is their Red and Blue.
I was going to say, like, I think for us kids born early mid 90s, it was Gens 1 through 4.
Yeah.
And and then at that point we were teenagers and, you know, Pokemon wasn't cool anymore. Obviously I still played them all.
Yeah, you go back into it. Gen 5, I maintain, I think has the best story.
I would, yes, I do agree that it is a compelling story. I think where, for me personally, it falters a little bit is just the reused region for Black 2 and White 2. And I don't really care about any of the new features that they added.
No, I was trying to find notes on it. I have triple battles and rotation battles, which were like a cool new thing that really just kind of fell off and like isn't really useful. Hidden abilities are kind of cool, but that's like an extra layer that a lot of people don't really know or care about. But it's telling that one of the ones I put in the notes is combined Pokemart Pokecenter.
Yeah.
It's no longer 2 buildings, it's 1 building. Hot dog.
I know that's something that, you genuinely don't even think about being a change until you look at how it is now and you're like, oh yeah, like they're always together now.
Yeah, right.
But even something like triple battles, like I couldn't care less about it in the actual game. I think it makes for a really cool idea for like a unique competitive battle, but I don't see people coming back and like praying that it returns.
No. I didn't really like some of the Pokemon. This to me was the, like, where you had like, come on, you're doing this. And I've long been a defender of Pokemon's always kind of had bad designs.
But I remember like Vanillix, that line,
yep.
and Trubbish, and Garbodor always coming out as people being like, this is what Pokemon has become now.
My issue with those is they weren't like animals, right? Gen 1, you have, like, it's more,
you literally have a pile of muck.
Well, it's more nature and natural, right? But muck at least is more sludgy compared to Garbodor, which is just garbage. Like, you've already done it and you did it in a more nuanced way with Grimer and Muck. Now you just did
Magnemite?
Well, Charmander, the Salamander. That's my go-to. Charmander is one of my favorite Pokemon, but Charmander, the Salamander, that's not really like you're scraping bottom of the barrel at Pokemon number 4.
I mean, you literally got 2 different Pokemon in Gen 1 that are just conglomerates of 3 of the first evolutions.
Yeah.
I
Even
don't know.
Hitmonchan, Hitmonlee.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder what those are for. They've always been bad, but I feel like the tipping point was those 2 lines specifically.
Those came up a lot.
Yeah. And then the Chandelure line. I like Chandelure. I kind of see the point, but like it's cool. It's a fire ghost. Like
that was one where I genuinely loved it, which is weird because one of my least favorite Pokemon is Rotom, and that's because they took in a cool idea of just like Ghost can possess things and made it like we're gonna literally make it possess everything. And no,
yeah, but it's all the same Pokemon.
Yeah, but anyway. Moving on to, what is this, number 3?
Number 3.
Number 3.
Number 3, you got Gen 2. So this is specifically Silver, Gold, and Crystal.
Oh, yeah. This was before we started doing any remakes.
This is before remakes. You've got your Steel and Dark types. You got your Egg/Breeding. You got the shiny Pokemon. You got Day-Night Cycle, held items. It's the special split. So special attack, special defense, friendship mechanic, roaming Pokemon, weather, move forgetter, held item trait evolutions. You didn't have that. You just had trait evolutions.
Well, I mean, to be fair, though, the only ones that actually mattered for that, if off the top of my head, I think Politoed sucks. Steelix, amazing. Scyther to Scizor, amazing. So I'm like 2 out of those 3.
And Kingdra.
Oh, and Kingdra, right.
And then Porygon, too.
Yeah, so some really awesome ones there.
Yeah. Female playable character, gendered Pokemon, other than like Nidoran male, Nidoran female, which are 2 different lines.
Mm-hmm.
If this was like Pokemon 1, it'd be like great. I kind of consider this like the first of the real kind of Pokemons.
Well, especially the fact that you have the entirety of the Johto region in, and Kanto region in one game.
Yeah.
So the fact that there's 16 gym badges to collect and they haven't done that since just always blows my mind.
Yeah.
And I think this is the one I've spent the most time playing collectively.
These series of games, yes.
Yeah. Like Crystal, I have played to completion so many times. I had a full Pokedex minus Celebi on Gold way back in the day. The fact like they didn't even have a day-night cycle return for like several generations because it was just like too complex and like too hard on like the systems. Like it is really impressive what they managed to do back then and how much it like what we think of as the Pokemon formula came from this game.
Yeah, exactly.
Like being able to breed certain moves onto ones added this like new competitive style. And I think those 100 Pokemon might not be the most that have been added in any generation, but those 100 Pokemon that were added are probably my favorite selection of new Pokemon of any generation.
Yeah. I've warmed up a lot to like Gen 3s, but Gen 2 is still like Silver is kind of like my Pokemon in a way.
Yeah, like Gen 2 is my favorite. Like Gen 3 is like, if we're talking like 100, it's like 98 for Gen 3 to like 100 for Gen 2.
Yeah. I can't tell we like it. It's great.
I wonder what might be close to the top here. We have 2 options left. What's number 2?
Number 2, we've got Gen 4. So Diamond, Pearl, Platinum, and then Heart Gold, Soul Silver. I don't know about you. This ranking is almost entirely Heart Gold, Soul Silver.
I actually didn't really get too into Heart Gold and Soul Silver. I owned both of them with the Pokewalkers, and I never opened them up. And I actually ended up selling both of them sealed in box. I'm pretty sure one of them is still on sale at
the local game store.
At the local game store because they're selling it for like $400.
Yeah.
But they literally paid me like 3 times the original sale price of it. So I was like, yeah, why not? Yeah. But when it comes to Diamond and Pearl, specifically, I remember that was the first generation where I didn't want to buy the new game. But then my one friend was like, I literally just got Pearl. Like, you got to get Diamond. We're going to like do this together. So I was like, screw it. Let's go. And I had a really good time. It's probably like, it's the last generation where I could probably tell you every single Pokemon name, like where in the game it could be found, the general order of all of the gyms and the areas. Even just doing like the underground part, like I didn't enjoy it as much as building bases in Gen 3, but like excavating for fossils, that was like just this weird little activity that I could have spent hours doing, even though it was like diminishing returns at a certain point.
Oh, yeah. See, with me, this is Heart Gold Soul Silver for me. Soul Silver is my definitive Pokemon game. Mm-hmm. I notoriously don't particularly like Gen 4. And it's for a super petty reason. My favorite Pokemon typing is fire. There were 2 fire types you could get. One of them was a starter. And like the standard playthrough, you get the Chimchar line or you pick up a Ponyta. I don't care about the Chimchar line. He always did firefighting like 7 different times. It was super annoying. I hate it.
I was going to say, after Blaziken, it was
you went right into another firefighting as well. Mm-hmm. And Blaziken made me move to grass starters as my main starter of choice for a couple gens. But in terms of influence on Pokemon, that's kind of where it shines. Mm-hmm. Mostly based on 2 things. You've got your global trading system, so you're online Pokemon trading with whoever, and you've got the physical special split. So this is the game that made fire have physical moves as well as special moves, and fighting have special moves as well as physical moves.
The way I see it is like, I think of Gens 1, 2, 3, like Super Mario Bros, like 1, 2, 3. And then Gen 4 is kind of like the Super Mario World, where it's like, clearly we're on better hardware and we can do more with it.
Yeah, because this is DS. You only really had 1 gen on Game Boy Advance.
Mm-hmm. And it was actually, like, it was convenient having the bottom screen just be like your menu option that you could like just touch with your finger at any time was something that I really appreciated.
Yeah. Then number 1, obvious by this point, if you're just crossing off things on the list. Gen 3, you've got your Ruby, Sapphire, Emerald, you've got Fire Red, you've got Leaf Green.
Oh man, I wasn't even thinking about Fire Red and Leaf Green. Holy, yeah. Okay, now I'm remembering immediately why this is my number 1 generation.
Yeah.
Like, Crystal might be my favorite single game, but between my experience in Sapphire was the last time I ever went for like a complete Pokedex. And then Fire Red, Leaf Green was my first time doing a Nuzlocke. And as I said way back in like the Generation 1 comments, like all of 20 minutes ago, they just did so much better this time around. They've made Gen 1 so much more accessible and so much more fun. Like having like the VS Seeker, so you could like redo battles and gain experience like a good, fun way.
This is my definitive Gen 1 now.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like if I want to play Kanto region, this is what I'm doing.
I want to play Leaf Green right now. Now, like, as I'm thinking about it,
right?
Yeah.
But this is where you had double battles. You had
awesome.
Berries for the first time. I had to check that. I was like, no, it was.
Oh, no, yeah. Like being able to plant berries too. I didn't get too far into that, but that was like an awesome feature.
Yeah, you got the natures, you've got running shoes, Pokemon contest.
Awesome. Oh, I love Pokemon contest.
Right? The secret bases.
Awesome.
Just abilities in general.
Awesome.
Then version exclusive legendaries, not so awesome.
Yeah, I mean, that was gold and silver.
Well, you could still catch
Ho-Oh and Lugia.
Well, they're different levels.
There.
Right, you could still catch them, just one was level 40, one was level 70. This one, you couldn't really catch them. In Ruby Sapphire specifically. I think you could for Emerald. But yeah, no, these are, I think, still the pinnacle.
Mm-hmm.
Other things have done some better, like we said with Gen 5. The story is maybe a little bit better there, but the Pokemon are solid in it. The designs are cool. The art style's great.
Oh yeah, it's probably my favorite art style of any generation, and like it's just like so ingrained in my brain. It's like so vibrant. Like when you're going through all these different regions, like the one route that's all this like really tall grass that you can't ride your bike through, or like these mountains with areas you have to like ride your bike across.
And the branching paths.
Mm-hmm. Like all of the quest to find like the Reggies. Like there is so many cool little tidbits in there. I think my only gripe with Gen 3 was the pacing and timing of when you have like the Team Magma or Team Aqua stuff. And I feel like it starts off awesome, but then after the 6th gym, you just stop everything for like 3 hours to go infiltrate their base and like completely wreck them. But then after that is just like water.
Yeah.
7.8 out of 10, too much water.
Right. But that's, I think that's pretty well definitive. We were a little bit off on a couple things between the two of us, but
we agreed generally on what was high and what was low.
The top half and bottom half, I think, were pretty well the same, just a little bit of changing between them.
Mm-hmm.
But there you have it. We got, top 9 Pokemon gens. We'll see where Gen 10 comes in.
Coming up next, our top 9 Pokemon spin-offs.
Yeah.
No, not actually, but maybe.
Eventually, maybe. But that's it. That's all. You folks take care. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening.